this is the first time you can select your hairstyle. So as you can see, we've got loads of choices, and on the next tab we also have hair colour, which is super exciting. At the top we've got the natural colours like browns and blondes. But then as you go further down, we've got really cool colours, especially good for festivals.
Colours.
Yes.
And there's a yellow, everyone. There's a yellow, don't worry. It is a normal hair colour, Mum. It's in a game. And on the next tab, we have identity. This was mentioned as part of the first blog when Forza Horizon 5 was announced. And this is where characters can select their pronouns. Does this have much effect on the game as we play through?
Yeah, so this will affect every time another player is talking to you, or probably more specifically about you. They can use appropriate pronouns based on your selection. It even affects like the radio DJs as well. So as they're talking about your cool achievements in the game, they can use appropriate pronouns to reference you.
It feels like literally as you just go step by step, you are just really making absolutely you. And then we go into voice, which is a really cool thing, isn't it? So what's up with the voice?
So yeah, again, so the player can they can choose their voice. They can choose how they will sound in the game.
As you play through the game and you play your Horizon adventure, you'll unlock outposts, the festival outposts, and they unlock the stories. We've got so many more gameplay types. So for example, you can do photo challenges, you can do driver's car races, but there's a lot more to that. So for example, you can, instead of like 4, where you'd start at the same location, we've got a new mechanic where you start at chapter 1, and once that's completed, chapter 2 appears somewhere else in the world and you drive to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that's brilliant.
it's given a lot more freedom. We can take the story across the whole world. You can go from the coast to the stadium. We've got lots of new gameplay in there, so you can do the eliminator and it will count towards your points.
Okay.
You could do your photo challenges. We've got all the old stuff and all the new stuff coming through. As you play through, every month now we're going to be changing things up with Evolving World. So for example, right now we're in Welcome to Mexico, but for Series 2 it'll be Christmas. So we could have snowmen around, we could have
amazing.
presents. We've got so much to come that you'll see as each series drops.
Wonderful. Hello, and welcome to Forza Horizon 5, Let's Go. The Horizon Festival makes its way to Mexico in, can you believe it, just 3 weeks' time. And over the past few months, we've previewed so many amazing aspects of the experience so far in previous episodes, from new cars all the way to new audio. Speaking of which, what does every festival need? Let's have a look on the schedule. Music, that's right. Of course, today we are announcing the day 1 music lineup and radio stations throughout the show. We're also going to be demoing the updated streamer mode while exploring some new areas of the map. I know some streamers in chat will be a fan of that. After that, we're going to check out some new races and weather events. And lastly, we'll finish up with a look at a new showcase event. Now, everyone knows Playground has a history of one-upping themselves there, and believe me, this one is pretty big. So, speaking of the Playground gang, let's welcome our guests. Hello to everyone in the room. We have Mike, Frazier, and Dave joining me today.
Hey Charlie, great to be here as always.
Hello,
Hey Charlie, good to be back. And hello, yeah, it's great to be back. So excited to talk about everything with the soundtrack today.
It's so exciting, and it must be ridiculous at this point, but we're 3 weeks away. How does that feel? I cannot imagine the energy in that room right now. It's 3 weeks.
It is amazing, isn't
It is pretty incredible. So exciting, really, to see people get their hands on it. Obviously, we had previews the last week, so some of the world's press got to play the game. They told us it was pretty good. So yeah, we're just excited now, I think, for the rest of the world to get their hands on it in 3 weeks, which is pretty hard to believe.
Yeah, I think we've
That's
shown off
wild.
far more than we've ever shown off before, and that means the reaction we're getting back is incredible. Like, I don't think we've had that feedback ever on a Horizon game, so it really does help energize us as a team.
And the best thing is, we've shown all that, and there is so much more that people have yet to see. There are so many things, so many secrets that we've managed to keep. Really can't wait.
It's going to be brilliant. Now, I do need to talk about, there seems to be 6 other cast members in the room today. Those gorgeous Xbox Series S's. We need to talk about them now, otherwise I'm not going to be able to concentrate. What's going on?
Yeah, so we have talked a few times on previous streams and indeed on the Forza Monthly about the amazing work that we've been able to have in the game from these mural artists that we contacted from across Mexico. We asked them if they wouldn't mind producing some beautiful artwork for us. We've seen that in the game as we've been driving around. We actually showed it in the E3 reveal of the game. And we've had some of that adorned across these lovely Xbox Series S consoles. One of these is going to be given as a gift to each of those mural artists. They will get to keep that for themselves as a memento of their work on the project. And don't they just look beautiful?
They're gorgeous, absolutely stunning. They're so vibrant as well. I feel like I'm gonna see if I can find each of the murals and map them to the console and just mourn for what I don't have. But the fact they exist is wonderful. They're so nice. Right, talking of lovely things, shall we dig into the soundtrack, which is what we are all gathered here today? I'm super excited. Before we announce the first station and we crack on with all the artists, I want to talk a little bit about how the soundtrack is created. And Fraser, I'm going to come to you to this one. I want to know your process for actually picking the songs for all of the stations.
Absolutely, it's kind of a big collaborative process that we start almost as soon as we know what location we're going to pick for the game. It's it is a process that takes us a long time because we kind of need to Mike, myself, and Dave get together on a weekly basis, sometimes more, and chat about all the music that's getting released. Like the charts, the top 40, also looking at artists that are sort of coming up who are maybe sort of not as well known, but maybe we want to feature in the Horizon Festival.
Yeah.
I think it's also an interesting point that a lot of the time when we develop a Horizon game, we're looking at posters of festivals that are going on in real life. We're looking at not just the headliners, but also all those other little small acts, trying to pick out who's going to be the big artist in 2 years' time, 3 years' time. We didn't really have that this time, and I think I think we decided that this was our opportunity, that the Horizon Festival in Forza Horizon 5 was going to be the biggest music festival that was going to hit this year, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we've all got very different types of music taste. I think my taste is more sort of aligned with Horizon Pulse. I know that Mike, you love a bit of Block Party, and Dave kind of has probably one of the most eclectic music tastes that I know of. Yeah, he does all the other stations. And it helps keep us balanced in terms of what we decide to put on the stations. So sometimes those meetings can get a little bit heated. Like, no, we can't put that on. Of course, we have to have this artist. That's good fun. It's a really good process.
Yeah, it's really great. We work with there's a music team within Xbox as well. We'll shout out to Kyle and Maya and the great work that they do. They're able to source us unreleased music as well. So they reach out to all the labels and find out what music the labels think is going to be hot.
So you're listening
in
to
a few months, a few
unheard
years.
music as well. You just have the best job in the world, huh? Right, thank you for
It is
that.
pretty fun. Yeah, it is pretty fun. Something we also do as well is we like to look at when we listen to songs, trying to think of the actual kind of experiences that we can tie to gameplay. So music has a really strong sort of graph on emotions. It can put you into a kind of emotion before you even start driving, with the time of day, with the music that's playing with the car. And so whenever we're listening to tracks that come through, especially from Carl and Maya, we're just thinking, okay, where can I see myself driving in Mexico to this song? And that takes a lot of time, especially when the game's been made. We start to go back and play the game with the current soundtrack as it's working, and sort of find the ones that work and the ones that maybe don't work.
I think we've ended up with one of the most eclectic and best sounding soundtracks, in my opinion, that we've ever had because of that sort of element. Like this time round, we've got expeditions, we've got far more Horizon stories, and all of those types of gameplay really change the way you think about music. You're not just listening to music whilst driving through the Mexican countryside. You're also thinking about, what do I want to smash 20 piñatas to, which, and that does really change what we choose.
And that is genuinely a conversation we've had. Like, can I smash piñatas to this song? Yes, put it in. Yeah.
Amazing. And I'm guessing it goes without saying that the location of Mexico influenced the music you picked like exponentially, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right from the start, I mean, when we chose Mexico as a location, it was Dave actually who did an investigation into Mexican music. What kind of instruments are used? What is the history of Mexican music? What's the kind of modern shape of Mexican music? The influence that it has on the rest of the world music scene. And it wasn't necessarily all music by Mexican artists, but it's like the influence that Mexican music has on other artists. And so right from the start, we knew that there was this sound of Mexican music that is already known all over the world. That it's not our job to introduce that to people, because people actually already listen to it and already love it. But we knew that we wanted to represent that in game and to make sure that was a key part of the sound of the soundtrack.
Okay. Is there actually a Mexican music station actually in Forza Horizon 5?
So that's a great question. So there used to be. When we first started out, we were we kind of had that in our plans, that we would make a station that would be just entirely dedicated to Mexican music. In the end, we kind of we were actually advised against doing that, because in Mexico, when you turn on the radio, it's not you wouldn't listen to a station that was just all genres of music, only Mexican music all day long. In Mexico, they would have a pop music station that would play some Mexican pop music, some US pop music, some European pop music. Same for, they'll have a rock station which focuses on Mexican rock and also international rock. And so it's actually much more authentic and frankly much better for the soundtrack to, rather than going with a dedicated Mexican station, to rather make sure that all of our stations have a selection of Mexican and Mexican inspired music.
We kind of realized it was the equivalent of saying that all British people listen to Brit rock, which just isn't the case.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to Brit Rock, but
Yeah, if anyone in chat is, sorry.
on a daily basis, I do love it.
Listen to some more music.
All the time.
And we don't have a radio station that just plays Brit rock all day.
Exactly.
Unfortunately
it doesn't
not.
exist. And I think it's done a really good job of dispersing Mexican artists throughout the soundtrack as well, because we were worried that if we put all of our Mexican artists into one station, then you'd end up having to force players back to that station to get a flavor of Mexico when playing in Mexico, which doesn't make sense. So it now means that you can choose the station that you're listening to and still get a little bit of authenticity whilst you play.
Love it. Brilliant. So should we actually maybe reveal one of the stations then? There's going to be a few we reveal, so let's dig into the first one, shall we?
Amazing. Yeah, so this is the lineup for Horizon Pulse. It's coming back. Amy Simpson is the DJ, doing her thing. So we when we approach these stations, we like to, like Fraser was saying, get a mixture of sort of big headline artists and people we think are going to be headline artists in a few years to come. So you can see here Dua Lipa, Glass Animals, Porter Robinson, all great artists that we've got.
I've really been enjoying the new release by Porter Robinson. Like, look at the sky; it's so good. It's so like sun drenched. It's amazing. I also just realised it's not quite a surprise considering we've got this big poster behind us.
Yeah, people have already read the whole thing. Actually, they're just being polite now.
People could actually see this on the Forza Monthly as well. So
love it. World exclusive. But yeah, there's some really good variation on here as well. I've been really enjoying a bit of Jungle. The new album by Jungle is really eclectic and varied. It's kind of almost a bit orchestral. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that track by Centaurus is one of my favorites as well. El Punto Final. Centaurus, for people who don't know, are one of the biggest indie bands in Mexico City right now. So if you don't love them yet, you will soon once you hear that track.
It's one of those songs that just makes you feel happy. Like it just completely uplifts you. I think another track on this as well, Sotomayor. So these are sort of a sibling duo from Mexico City. They got a song called Kima, which we've got on our poll station. But they have also written music for our expedition as well. So it's sort of bespoke composition for the Horizon Wilds expedition, and that is my favorite song as well, because it's like the time of day, the place where you drive through, and it just feels so much more authentic having people from Mexico City who have lived that experience to kind of inject that into their music to put into our game. It just feels so much better.
Yeah, we've done a lot of original compositions on this game, and it has the added benefit of being really tied to the gameplay that you play it with. So it feels really special. It feels kind of like a little present that you haven't experienced before. And this track it's like
That's really
9
sweet.
minutes long, so it's incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, bring in the sound of summer all year round.
Wonderful. And what have we got?
Staying on brand there, yeah, just like the radio idea.
You sound like one of the stings off that radio station.
Yeah.
Anyone would think that Dave wrote the script for
Like I wrote
for
the
radio
Stingers
station.
script, yeah. Horizon Pulse.
Honestly, you lot. Right, block parties up next. What have we got going on over there?
It's Block Party.
Oh, look at that!
My favourite station in the game, and I think absolutely thrilled with this track list. I think it's one of the best block party. Well, it is the best block party track list we've had. Right at the top there, Beastie Boys, Run DMC, that new track from Lil Nas X, absolute banger. You can't move for hearing that right now on the radio.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I think so. Bombay Stereo as well. There's a song we got called Soyo, and that is probably like the most upbeat, fun party block party track in the game. It's when we talk about what can you smash pinatas to, that is the song. It's
Absolutely.
yeah. We've got Horizon Story where you kind of go through Guanajuato to that song, and you kind of smashing lots of stuff, and it's so fun.
It's interesting pulling the soundtrack together for this station as well, because we have a lot of classic hip hop that we featured, and obviously this is the third game that we've had block party in. We're still not running out of amazing hits from that period to feature on the station. And what's cool is taking that idea of classic hip hop and trying to find modern artists. Like we've got Ellison Pasha, DJ Shadow, and De La Soul. Like those tracks really kind of channel that old school hip hop vibe. The Demon track as well. That's really cool. Turn the World Around.
I don't think that's released yet, is it?
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. That might be getting. People might be hearing that for the very first time in 3 weeks. It's one of my favorite songs on the soundtrack. It's an absolute banger.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's worth saying as well. These some of these the actual soundtrack we'll be putting on Spotify soon after this as well. So check socials for that.
Will.
Lovely stuff. Right, should we have a look at Hospital Records next?
Here we go. Hospital Records making a massive return back to the franchise. We've got a really good relationship with Hospital Records, and I think
they're basically our best friends at this point.
They are our best friends. Yeah.
They are.
They send us lots of merch as well, which is always nice.
I think by now Hospital Records has kind of become part and parcel of the sound of Horizon as well.
Absolutely.
Like
100%.
you can't make a Horizon game without that drum and bass soundtrack to really it sells 200 miles per hour, doesn't it? It's although they would probably say 171 miles per hour, 174 to be correct.
74 BPM.
There we go. But yeah, we've got some amazing artists on here, and it's worth saying that all of the songs that we're featuring on Hospital Records are absolute exclusives to Forza Horizon 5. They are all unreleased. And we got some really good tracks on there. I think I'm right in saying, and I think I'm allowed to say, that Hospital Records will be releasing a vinyl of this as a standalone album. So
That is a world exclusive reveal.
Amazing.
I think if you check out the Hospital Records Twitter, probably about now, they're probably scrambling to tweet out and confirm that is true.
It is true.
But it is like super exciting. So if you're a collector of vinyl, I actually am, then jump on that pre-order as quick as you can. But give me a chance first.
Yeah. We did one for Horizon 4, and none of us got a copy. I think you ended up buying one off of eBay for an extortion.
I did. I had to buy the test. I bought the test print from eBay, which didn't come with the proper sleeve, but did have the correct vinyl record. So, which is probably actually better than the original, really. But I did have to pay quite a lot for it. So.
And shout out to Degs as well. So for our hospital station, we got Chris Goss, and Degs is actually going to be one of the DJs who's kind of like the voice of Hospital Records. And what I love about Chris Goss and Degs, so Chris has been in every single game since Horizon 2. And so Degs,
That's
there's kind
huge.
of this narrative where he's kind of teaching Degs how everything works around Horizon, and there's a really fun dynamic around that. And yeah, it's a really fun station to listen to because they're in the booth at the same time. They can really like banter off each other, and there's a real dynamic that they have together that we captured, and it's good fun.
I love the line where Chris Goss is explaining to Degs what a skill song is.
Yeah, they like push a button and then say
I think something really cool about Hostel is it helps enable our streamer modes, which I think we'll touch on in a bit. But all of these tracks will feature within our streamer modes, and it's part of the amazing relationship that we have with Hospital Records that we've put this album together that helps us get there. We've also partnered with a lot of artists to do original compositions, which will also feature on Maya a lot about the music.
So, as you know, Horizon is just the perfect place. It's a festival that celebrates music and cars, and quite rightly so, music makes such a huge part of the emotional experience, and it's something that we really want people who are playing the game, especially streamers, to also have that experience as well. So we've kind of been working hard to source tracks and working on a feature called streamer mode.
Yeah, it's very much I think YouTube and Twitch streaming is becoming such a massive part of games that you can't really ignore it. A lot of games do sort of give the functionality to completely turn off all copyrighted music if you're streaming. But you know, we did really feel like music is just part of the DNA of Horizon, and we want people to experience the festival the way that it was intended to be experienced. So we've worked with both Hospital Records and our original compositions, and there's a few other little tracks in there as well, which hopefully we're all featuring them on the streamer mode channel, which you can enable in the audio options. So if you go to the pause menu, settings, audio, you can turn on this and thanks, Mike.
Let's show it.
There we go.
Let's just show people.
Here.
There we go. There we
There
go.
it is.
Stream mode currently
And
set to on.
there it is. Wonderful.
Epic. All right. Yeah. So we're featuring all of the tracks within streamer mode, and essentially that means that when you load up the game, even with the press start screen with that lovely music by Urban Dawn, if you go to the settings and turn on streamer mode and then play through the game from there, we're hoping that it will create a seamless experience for streamers to put their content up online or stream with Twitch as well. And obviously there's those pesky bots on YouTube that we can't really do much about.